Fifth house, or Prabhava, Radiance for Gemini rising. Libra in the fifth house brings beauty, diplomacy, and aesthetic balance into the domain of creative intelligence. Gemini, ruled by Mercury, is mentally agile, witty, and curious, while Libra, ruled by Venus, lends charm, grace, and a refined artistic sensibility to expression. This pairing produces a native who communicates with style, thinks in relational terms, and seeks joy through mutual understanding and social harmony. Their creative intelligence is filtered through elegance and cooperation, and their romantic or expressive life is shaped by the desire to please and be pleased. This house activates at ages 5, 17, 29, 41, 53, 65, and 77. Libra in the fifth makes the mind relational, romantic, and aesthetically sensitive. These individuals often develop a strong appreciation for arts, culture, music, or language, especially where it allows them to connect with others. Their intelligence is diplomatic and often expressed through beauty, whether through eloquent writing, graceful performance, or aesthetically aware parenting. They excel in cooperative projects and flourish when their ideas are met with social or romantic resonance. They are rarely solitary creators. They need reflection, dialogue, and shared taste to feel truly inspired. Venus, as the ruler of this house, refines the Mercury-ruled intellect of Gemini rising, creating a blend of verbal brilliance and social charm. These individuals are likely to pursue joy through flirtation, performance, literature, or design. Their intelligence is expressed with elegance and a sense of timing. They know what to say and when. With children or creative ventures, they value balance, fairness, and beauty. They think with heart and speak with grace. Their radiance often lies in their ability to uplift through gentle persuasion and aesthetically pleasing expression. Their emotional world in creative and romantic contexts is attuned to symmetry and fairness. They are sensitive to disharmony and may become unsettled if their affections are not reciprocated or if beauty is lacking in their environment. They are lovers of form and expression, often seeking perfection in art, idealism in romance, or harmony in their children's upbringing. Their joy dims in chaotic or crude conditions. Emotional equilibrium is restored when they return to their aesthetic rituals: music, visual beauty, poetic thought, or meaningful conversation. Physiologically, Libra here links creativity and emotional fulfillment to the lower heart, kidneys, and hormonal balance. Their radiance is not just external, it depends on internal equilibrium. Stress or imbalance in love or self-expression can affect their hormonal or circulatory systems. Practices such as dancing, singing, walking in nature, or decorating aesthetically pleasant spaces support their emotional digestion and inner balance. Joy increases when they allow beauty to flow inward, not just as an outer experience, but as an internal mood of elegance and emotional poise. Their early learning may have emphasized social presentation, charm, or graceful behavior. They may have been praised for being well-mannered or attractive, leading them to associate intelligence with charm and approval. As adults, they often carry the ability to harmonize groups, bring elegance into mundane tasks, and elevate the emotional tone of their environments. Their creativity is not flamboyant, but balanced, meant to be shared, enjoyed, and appreciated without drama. At age 5, they are likely experimenting with social interaction through stories, style, or mimicry. By 17, romantic inclinations emerge with idealism and a desire to be loved for their mind and manner. At 29, they may step into roles where creativity becomes a shared joy, perhaps as a partner, teacher, or performer. By 41, they begin to see that beauty is not only visual, but vibrational, that inner balance is the key to sustained external expression. This placement supports careers in performing arts, fashion, music, diplomacy, aesthetic education, and relational counseling. Whether they are writing poetry, teaching art, or designing emotionally resonant experiences, their mind shines through balance and taste. Their intelligence is collaborative and romantic. It thrives in dialogues of beauty, fairness, and style. They illuminate the world not with force, but with grace. Fifth house, or Prabhava, the radiance of Gemini rising. When Venus and Mercury conjoin in the fifth house, artistic brilliance meets intellectual refinement. Venus lends beauty, grace, and relational warmth, while Mercury brings wit, precision, and expressive agility. These natives possess charming eloquence, a flair for writing, design, or music, and a strong romantic magnetism. Love is expressed through words, humor, and shared aesthetic experiences. Their creations often reflect elegance and cleverness simultaneously. They excel in fields that blend beauty with thought: creative writing, fashion commentary, art criticism, or lyrical performance. Venus and Jupiter together bring joyful, cultured radiance to their creative and romantic lives. Venus softens and beautifies, while Jupiter uplifts and expands. These individuals possess artistic generosity, moral refinement, and a love of higher aesthetics. They may create or perform with grace that carries meaning, or love in a way that teaches fairness and joy. As parents or mentors, they guide with kindness and artistic encouragement. Their relationships often include shared values, laughter, and cultural pleasures, music, dance, or art with a deeper undertone. Sun and Venus in conjunction here lend charismatic radiance, balancing confidence with elegance. The Sun gives identity and creative force, while Venus adds beauty, relational grace, and softness. These natives often express through fashion, performing arts, or refined love. Romantic expression is warm, dignified, and aesthetically attuned. Their creativity captures admiration, but their charm lies in the warmth behind their style. They may raise children with an emphasis on manners, refinement, and artistic self-worth. When Mercury and Jupiter conjoin in the fifth house, brilliance expands into benevolent teaching. Mercury gives articulate thought and detail. Jupiter adds vision, ethics, and philosophical context. These natives shine as educators, writers, or speakers, especially in artistic or literary domains. They have a flair for storytelling that both delights and uplifts. In love, they value both mental compatibility and principled connection. Their intelligence expresses in formats that teach joyfully, whether through child guidance, drama, or spiritual aesthetics. Sun and Mercury bring intellectual clarity and self-expression into harmony. The Sun fuels self-assurance. Mercury crafts verbal and conceptual brilliance. These individuals often shine as public thinkers, communicators, or creators of refined media. In romance or parenting, they value intelligent dialogue and clear moral leadership. Their creativity is both playful and focused, radiating from a mind that enjoys being seen and heard. They love where they feel mentally respected, and their artistic work often balances individuality with universal appeal. Moon and Venus conjoining in the fifth house generates emotionally rich, sensually refined joy. The moon brings sensitivity and nurturing tone. Venus adds pleasure, beauty, and tact. These individuals are naturally attuned to rhythm, grace, and emotional aesthetics, often excelling in music, dance, or romance-centered expression. Love is affectionate, intuitive, and visually inspired. They raise children or relate to others with kindness, softness, and emotional poise. Their homes, relationships, and artistic creations tend to be warm, flowing, and balanced. Moon and Jupiter together bestow emotionally generous radiance. The moon enhances feeling and receptivity. Jupiter expands faith, wisdom, and warmth. These natives often mentor with a parental heart, expressing joy through philosophical affection. Their love life may carry a devotional tone, and their creativity may reflect optimism and emotional storytelling. They guide others gently, uplift young minds, and create with emotional honesty and hopeful insight. Their radiance is not only beautiful but nourishing. Sun and Jupiter in conjunction produces noble intelligence and expansive creative leadership. The Sun brings purpose and radiance. Jupiter adds ethics, cultural refinement, and breadth of vision. These natives are natural cultural ambassadors, leading in education, aesthetics, or value-based creativity. They love with loyalty and moral dignity, and their joy expands through cultural immersion, philosophical love, or inspiring artistic pursuit. Their creations often serve as guiding lights, infused with both brilliance and benevolence. Fifth house or Prabhava, Radiance for Libra rising, Part 1. Aquarius in the fifth house brings originality, abstraction, and unconventional brilliance to the realm of creative intelligence. Libra, ruled by Venus, seeks harmony, connection, and beauty, while Aquarius, ruled by Saturn and Rahu, introduces idealism, innovation, and social reform into the expression of love, learning, and personal radiance. This pairing produces a native whose creativity is mentally inventive and socially attuned, whose romantic life is both emotionally detached and intellectually intense, and whose joy is awakened not through sentiment, but through vision and originality. This house activates at ages 5, 17, 29, 41, 53, 65, and 77. Aquarius here shifts the focus of joy from the personal to the collective. These individuals often express intelligence through futuristic thinking, conceptual art, or progressive philosophies. Their creativity is not necessarily traditional. It leans toward technology, design, or social commentary. Their romances may begin as friendships or shared ideals, and their connection with children, if any, is often intellectual or centered on common causes rather than emotional nurturing. Their radiance emerges when they are contributing something different, surprising, or impactful to the world around them. Saturn, as a co-ruler of this house, adds detachment, structure, and long-term vision to their intellectual and romantic lives. These individuals are often slow to open emotionally, but consistent and principled in their affections. They may approach love with caution, seeing it as a commitment that must be earned and understood. Their creativity is honed over time, often manifesting through dedication to a cause, a concept, or a system. Saturn here compels them to find joy through meaningful frameworks and ideas that serve a higher order. Rahu, the other ruler, injects innovation, unpredictability, and a thirst for the extraordinary. Under its influence, they may gravitate toward avant-garde expression, unique relationships, or eccentric teaching methods. There is a brilliance that doesn't follow convention, a mind that questions, reinvents, and disrupts. Their creative output may challenge norms or explore taboo or hidden knowledge. Romantically, they may be drawn to people outside their culture, generation, or social background, reflecting a desire for the unusual and expansive. Emotionally, joy is linked with freedom and authenticity. They resist being boxed in by conventional romance or restrictive creative formats. Their greatest challenge is reconciling their craving for individuality with their Libra need for connection. They may struggle to balance intimacy with independence and affection with objectivity. Love is easiest when it includes mental stimulation and mutual respect for personal space. Creativity flows when they are allowed to experiment without fear of rejection or censorship. Physiologically, Aquarius in the fifth connects creativity to the calves, ankles, and the circulatory system. Emotional tension or creative blocks may manifest through restlessness, poor circulation, or energetic stagnation. Practices like rhythmic movement, collaborative brainstorming, or digital creation may help them reconnect with flow. Their peace lies not in stillness, but in meaningful motion, intellectual or physical, towards something larger than themselves. In early life, they may have been encouraged to think independently, or conversely, they may have felt isolated in their way of thinking. Their creative instincts may not have conformed to family or social norms, leading to either rebellion or quiet internalization. As adults, they reclaim joy by embracing their right to express differently. Their radiance lies in showing others how to think freely, love authentically, and create without conforming. At age 5, they often explore patterns, systems, or gadgets. By 17, romantic curiosity leans toward those who stimulate their mind or break traditional molds. At 29, they may become educators, visionaries, or mentors, guiding others through unconventional means. By 41, they begin to trust that their unique path of joy is not a deviation, but a contribution. They shine brightest when they're not seeking approval, but embodying possibility. This placement supports roles in technology, social reform, teaching, futuristic art, or unconventional storytelling. Whether they're reimagining education, parenting with radical openness, or creating digital art, their joy becomes a blueprint for future intelligence. Their radiance is quiet but revolutionary, lighting up minds, not just rooms. Fifth house, or Prabhava, the radiance of Libra rising. When Saturn and Mercury conjoin in the fifth house, intellectual gravity fuses with systematic brilliance. Saturn brings discipline and structure. Mercury adds analysis and communication. This pairing forms a yoga for logical excellence, especially in scientific thinking, coding, systems analysis, or structured writing. These natives often become methodical creators or deep thinkers, expressing through diagrams, models, or policy. In love, they communicate cautiously and prefer mature, respectful relationships. When well placed, this conjunction fosters clear, enduring creative output. When afflicted, it may produce cold detachment in romance, overly rigid thinking, or fear-based parenting. Saturn and Venus together in the fifth house blend aesthetic refinement with endurance and restraint. Venus brings grace and desire for beauty. Saturn adds structure, realism, and long-term devotion. This yoga supports elegant but controlled creativity, architecture, minimalistic design, classical music, or disciplined performance arts. Romantically, they are loyal but reserved, often forming late but lasting relationships. With children, they value discipline paired with ethical culture. When afflicted, this pairing can suppress emotional spontaneity, cause romantic stagnation, or express affection in overly formal, distant ways. Mercury and Rahu form a yoga of innovation and intellectual eccentricity. Mercury brings logic and articulation. Rahu amplifies out-of-the-box thinking, making the native sharp, clever, and often a technical trailblazer. This combination supports genius in digital design, futurist teaching, or disruptive creativity, especially involving AI, media, or trend-defining arts. When well-directed, this yoga creates a visionary. If afflicted, however, it can result in mental restlessness, unethical manipulation, or socially alienating forms of intelligence. Venus and Rahu together give the native magnetic, unconventional romantic energy and a taste for experimental creativity. Venus represents desire and beauty. Rahu intensifies and distorts. This pairing may result in striking fashion, controversial art, or relationships that challenge societal norms. In its higher form, this yoga can make one a trendsetter in style, art, or sexual identity. In its lower form, it may bring addiction to validation, romantic instability, or superficial love affairs that lack grounding. Moon and Rahu in the fifth create emotional brilliance with an edge of unpredictability. The moon gives imagination and feeling. Rahu heightens intensity and obsession. These natives may be emotionally drawn to taboo, forbidden, or futuristic subjects, producing compelling narratives, sci-fi, or emotionally immersive digital work. In romance, emotional highs and lows are frequent. If balanced, this yoga gives creative intuition and mass appeal. If imbalanced, it can bring emotional instability, obsessive parenting, or love affairs that collapse under intensity. Sun and Saturn together in the fifth combine authority and discipline, identity and endurance. The Sun shines with confidence and expression. Saturn slows down, refines, and tests. Together, they produce serious educators, socially responsible creators, or principled mentors. These natives may take on leadership roles in educational reform, policy-based creativity, or ethical AI. When well-placed, this yoga builds legacy. When afflicted, it may bring difficulty in self-expression, delay in recognition, or pride masked by emotional restraint. Jupiter and Saturn in conjunction in Aquarius produce a visionary engineer of the intellect. Jupiter provides idealism and moral framework. Saturn gives method and realism. This pairing supports slow but expansive brilliance in structured systems, philosophical education, or group-oriented creativity. In love, they seek partners who support growth through stability. When benefic, this yoga can lead to foundational work in progressive systems, like reforming educational methods or parenting models. When afflicted, it may trap idealism in bureaucracy or joy in cynicism. Mercury and Jupiter together support high-order communication and philosophical clarity. Mercury lends structure to ideas. Jupiter expands them with wisdom. This yoga supports writers, teachers, and speakers with futuristic or reformist vision. If positively placed, their children may become ideological extensions of their mental framework. When afflicted, the native may struggle with reconciling facts with beliefs, leading to confusion or impractical optimism in love or parenting. Overall, Aquarius in the fifth for Libra risings creates yogas where brilliance is built through discipline, detachment, and innovation. Their challenge lies in learning that intimacy doesn't dilute genius, and that love, when shared consciously, can elevate intellect rather than distract from it. When these natives accept that emotional presence and abstract thinking are not at odds, they radiate with brilliance that is both humane and ahead of its time. Fifth house or Prabhava, Radiance for Aquarius rising. Part 1. Gemini in the fifth house brings quickness, versatility, and communicative brilliance into the sphere of creative intelligence. Aquarius, ruled by Saturn and Rahu, is visionary, detached, and future-focused, while Gemini, ruled by Mercury, infuses the emotional and intellectual world with curiosity, wit, and adaptable expression. This pairing produces a native whose joy emerges through conversation, intellectual experimentation, and playful mental engagement. Their intelligence is socially agile, their creativity verbally rich, and their romance characterized by liveliness and novelty. This house activates at ages 5, 17, 29, 41, 53, 65, and 77. With Gemini here, the creative and emotional self is lively, mobile, and mentally wired. These individuals learn by doing, mimicking, or talking through concepts. Their artistic style may be restless but intellectually engaging, favoring short-form content, digital creativity, witty storytelling, or multitask-based expression. In romance, they are flirtatious, humorous, and curious, seeking partners who stimulate their mind as much as their heart. Love is a dance of dialogue. Joy is a conversation that never ends. Mercury, as Lord of this house, sharpens cognition, articulation, and expressive clarity. For Aquarius risings, whose broader vision is often idealistic and structural, Mercury offers the ability to break big ideas into digestible, playful, or interactive parts. These natives are often skilled at guiding children, students, or audiences with layered information presented in digestible formats. They teach through humor, write with speed, and parent with verbal engagement. Their joy becomes intellectualized, less about depth of emotion, more about diversity of interaction. Emotionally, they process through language. Writing, talking, or reflecting aloud helps them access inner truth. However, they may struggle to ground into emotional depth, sometimes intellectualizing feelings or avoiding vulnerable connection by keeping things light. Their creative process may skip refinement in favor of movement. They may start many projects or relationships, but require focus to carry them to meaningful conclusions. Their radiance grows when they give equal value to thought and emotional honesty. Physiologically, Gemini in the 5th house connects creativity and joy to the nervous system, shoulders, arms, and lungs. When overstimulated or emotionally scattered, they may experience anxiety, shallow breathing, or mental fatigue. Their creativity is recharged through breathwork, writing, movement-based learning, and social variety. They thrive in stimulating environments, especially ones where teaching, speaking, or improvisation is encouraged. In early learning or romance, they may have been the clever child, fast learner, or class performer. Their emotional world may have felt fragmented by too many inputs or expectations to be smart rather than emotionally authentic. As adults, they rediscover joy by embracing their natural flexibility while cultivating attention and emotional resonance. Their intelligence isn't linear, it's branched. Their creativity is not slow-cooked, it's sparked. Their brilliance lies in variety, rhythm, and mental flight. At age 5, they likely explored their world through questions, mimicry, and active play. By 17, romance is mentally thrilling and conversation-heavy, though possibly inconsistent. At 29, they step into roles of communicative leadership, whether through teaching, parenting, or writing. By 41, they learn to combine intellect with empathy, crafting a kind of joy that's both clever and emotionally resonant. This placement supports careers in writing, media, education, comedy, youth-focused content, or digital communication. They shine in classrooms, studios, or any space where expression is nimble, fast-moving, and full of ideas. They may not speak from the heart, but they speak from a mind full of bridges, connecting people, symbols, and systems with ease. Their radiance is light, fast, and refreshing. The brilliance of breath turned into words, and thoughts made play. 5th house, or Prabhava, the radiance of Aquarius rising, part. When Mercury and Venus conjoin in the 5th house, wit meets charm in a delightfully expressive yoga. Mercury sharpens speech and intellect. Venus softens expression with grace and emotional refinement. For Aquarius risings, this pairing creates verbal artistry, seen in storytelling, poetry, lyrics, design, or flirtatious humor. It enhances charisma in romantic settings and makes for affectionate, clever parenting. If well placed, it fosters joyful communication, refined creativity, and tactful intelligence. If afflicted, it may result in superficiality in love, scattered artistic focus, or passive-aggressive emotional habits masked by cleverness. Mercury and Jupiter together in Gemini bring expansive articulation and morally anchored communication. Jupiter expands ideals and higher knowledge. Mercury delivers it with agility and accessibility. This yoga is excellent for teachers, counselors, or creative mentors, especially in youth-oriented or intellectual settings. Their creativity becomes a bridge between playful intellect and ethical vision. When benefic, this yoga supports principled yet flexible creators and inspirational educators. When afflicted, it may produce excessive rationalization, contradictions between belief and logic, or overpromising in romantic or creative pursuits. Moon and Mercury form a yoga of emotionally attuned intelligence. The moon adds feeling and rhythm. Mercury organizes it into speech, writing, or gesture. These natives think aloud, express moods through words, and create from a place of personal connection. This yoga is especially favorable for writers, comedians, or teachers of young children. In romance, they're communicative and responsive, but may struggle with mood shifts or inconsistency if Mercury's logic overpowers emotional truth. When afflicted, this pairing can cause nervous energy, emotional oversharing, or mental restlessness in creative or romantic spaces. Mercury and Saturn in conjunction bring structural clarity to the mind and slow, thoughtful articulation. Mercury brings language and dexterity. Saturn adds seriousness and logic. This pairing supports technical writing, long-form creative work, and grounded, disciplined expression. These individuals may be excellent at teaching complex subjects or raising children with structured emotional development. In romance, they may be cautious but consistent in verbal expression. If afflicted, this yoga can lead to verbal inhibition, emotional coldness, or difficulty relaxing into spontaneous joy. Venus and Jupiter together create a yoga of joyful elegance and emotionally enriching creativity. Venus lends harmony and beauty. Jupiter adds meaning, purpose, and wisdom. This pairing enhances storytelling, relationship-centered education, and romantic generosity. These natives may fall in love with minds first, drawn to those who share ideas and values. Creatively, they express beauty that uplifts. When afflicted, this yoga may result in overindulgence in romantic fantasy, artistic inflation, or dependency on approval to validate joy. Moon and Jupiter conjoining in Gemini enhances empathetic wisdom and intuitive teaching. The moon adds feeling. Jupiter expands emotional insight into moral understanding. These natives may create emotionally resonant content, teach with warmth, or raise children with a balance of care and independence. Their joy lies in lifting others, often through humor, language, or gentle belief systems. When afflicted, emotional excess or blurred emotional boundaries may complicate love or parenting. Mars and Mercury form a yoga of sharp intellect and verbal competitiveness. Mars gives force, Mercury lends articulation. This conjunction supports debate, investigative journalism, or bold, fast-paced creative production. In romance, they may attract through banter or intense dialogue. When benefic, this yoga produces mentally agile, action-oriented communicators. When afflicted, it can lead to impatience in love, verbal outbursts, or overactive nervous energy that sabotages joy. Sun and Mercury in Gemini form Buddh Aditya Yoga, a bright, articulate, self-assured intelligence. The Sun offers identity and clarity. Mercury shapes that into speech and perception. These individuals shine in public speaking, youth-focused education, or media-based creativity. They may teach with conviction, parent through ideas, or romance with articulate confidence. When afflicted, this yoga may produce egotistical communication, inflexible thinking, or the tendency to dominate conversations and relationships. Sun and Venus together illuminate the heart through beauty, confidence, and graceful magnetism. The Sun brings pride and presence. Venus offers aesthetic taste and relational flow. These natives may excel in performing arts, fashion, or leadership roles that blend intellect and charisma. Their romantic life seeks admiration and harmony in equal measure. When afflicted, they may struggle with vanity, romantic pride, or placing too much weight on appearances in love and creative recognition. For Aquarius risings, Gemini in the 5th creates yogas where mental sparkle, verbal agility, and creative movement define their joy. Their challenge lies in slowing down to feel rather than just describe. Learning that not all emotion needs articulation and not all brilliance needs performance. When they integrate heart into thought and pause between words, their radiance becomes multidimensional, a quicksilver intelligence that can also listen, reflect, and truly connect.